Big up, big up, big up, big up. Welcome to Liverpool 12th Man Show. I'm Liverpool 12th Man, just as well as you are, and that's why you're here, most likely, because we are joined by Lee and the Irishman. Lee, how you doing?
Good, mate. Good to see you.
Good, good, good. And Irishman, how are you doing?
Very well, very well.
Very well, very good, very well. We are just on a little bit of a walk, as I like to say, or as they like to say down under. Just going for a walk, right? I'm not going to try an Australian accent. I was about to, but I decided against it.
That's hard to do, you know. I can't do them like Australian accents. They're hard to do. They sound rubbish when you get it wrong. They sound awful.
They
You're
sound
better off
terrible.
just not bothering.
Yeah. Other than like maybe like dingo ate my baby, something like that.
Whoa.
A dingo ate my baby. Something like that. I don't know. That's one of the only iconic lines I know. Or
Yeah,
on the Bobby.
That one, wasn't it? The dingo and the baby, like.
Yeah.
The dingo's male, apparently,
Allegedly, yes. I don't know how. I mean, I don't know how we have to bring that in.
Tiptoe around that one.
Yeah. Very much so. Very much so. But big up to all those down under for sure. We do have some listeners, some watchers down there that do tune in to the show, usually on the replay. But I've seen your messages, and I appreciate your patronage as well. And I hope that you're all good, my Reds down there as well. So
if they haven't all unsubscribed now after your little performance there, which I'm sure isn't at all.
No.
Yeah. They 1986 and all that.
I brought 1986 back right there. I definitely did. But no. We were just going for a walk, as I said. I like to say, because you'll never walk alone means something to me. So therefore, I figured these kinds of days on a Wednesday, a nice Wednesday, we can go for a walk, and it's very much so just like the summer, just like you expected the summer to be somewhat. I mean, I personally thought it was going to be this, which was considering we had a January that was very quiet. What I mean by January, very quiet, as in for transfers and actual transfers that get put through. It kind of set the stage for a very modest summer, especially with the tournaments that were involved. Being pretty much right after the season ended, and I mean two major tournaments being Copa and Euros, and then also having the Olympics involved in there, like in another month or so. You kind of figured you'd get a quiet summer, and that's what it's pretty much been so far. I get that July 1st was really technically the official, like, hey, we can start to get these transfers rocking and rolling and moving. But again, with the Euros and with Copa and with these tournaments and with the PSR concerns, there hasn't been a lot of movement that was somewhat expected by some and not expected by others. Where were you in that camp, Lee? Were you on which side of the fence were you on?
Well, the transfer stuff doesn't start going properly, does it, until much later, especially when there's tournaments on. So it wasn't really expecting to see anything immediate. We've heard a few things, haven't we? A couple of teams have signed someone, haven't they? Did you say Chelsea have signed someone?
They've signed a few people already.
Yeah, they've signed a couple. Yeah.
I mean, Guy, I don't know how to say it. Some kid from Barcelona, a striker.
Yeah,
signed your man.
Or something like that.
Yeah, they signed your man from Leicester.
Like
oh yeah, cheap. Your man from Leicester, and they've signed a defender. Yeah, they've signed another defender as well, or they were about to. I'm not sure, and everyone's saying maybe he's going to Arsenal now, but they're saying it's either like they're after putting in a bid for Calafiori along with Arsenal.
Arsenal are heavily linked now to Calafiore.
Yeah, haven't been. They haven't been kind of but they'll be quietly doing stuff. I'm just trying to find the list of them there. But yeah, Paulinho gone to Fulham, or gone to Bayern.
Oh, is he gone, has he?
Yeah, 58 million for him.
58.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, for the breaking news, Liverpool fans are already panicking because we haven't signed anyone after 3 days of the window being open. Yeah, that's certainly true. That's certainly true.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
Yeah. Big up Daryl. Big up Richard.
I've not been panicking myself for a long time. Yeah, we've got a long time to go in the window. But I am anxious for it to get started, our business. But it won't be until the Copa and the Euros have finished. I know that much. Slot won't move for anyone until the Euros and the Copa's over.
I'm trying to think if we did that show or not. We did a DM deep dive. Did we do a center back deep dive? I'm trying to think if we did one or not.
But look, we're at the knockout stages now. The tournaments haven't got that long to go in all reality before they're both finished. Both Copa and the Euros. They'll be finished in no time then. So when they are, that's when everyone will be going crazy. Won't it go and stir crazy over transfers?
There and Daryl brings up this saying it's staying on a lot of sites. Daryl saying that we are agreed to a £50 million deal, or 50 million. I don't know if it's pounds or euros deal for Lenny Euro. I know that. Let me pull up his name so I can get his proper name. Because I know, Jorge Mendes, right? He's a super agent.
Yeah.
And he has a bunch of clients. So I know apparently Jorge Mendes is going to be at FSG's, or I should say FSG's. I don't think he's going to their office in Liverpool, or excuse me, in London. I'm not certain if it's that, or if he's actually going to go to the actual facility for Liverpool. But apparently Jorge is making a visit to or with Liverpool's brass, basically. And that doesn't necessarily mean that Euro is going to be the next big signing, or that's the reason why he's going there is because of Euro. I'm just bringing that up because I did hear that he is making a visit to talk with us, but it's also he's got a lot of clients, and some of which play for our club, already, and some of which are names that are on that list that we have been reported to be connected with, So, and let me bring up some of his clients here.
And it's not even just his clients. It's just it's even the agency that he owns. Like there's a famous, I can't remember which deal it was, but there was a famous deal recently that was being done, and Mendes wasn't an agent of the player, and he wasn't working for the buying club, and he became an intermediary in the deal and got paid $5 million quid for it, because the agent that had the player he was a kind of, I can't remember who it was. This guy, he'd kind of come out of nowhere a bit, and I think it was kind of an inexperienced agent maybe, and he was like, yeah, I got to deal with Real Madrid here. Like he has basically, if there's a pie, his finger is in it. I mean, that guy, that guy basically took over Wolves for about 2 years. That whole thing where they couldn't sign.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of his players, Neto's one of his players, Diego's one of his players that he represents.
Yeah,
he represents Darwin Nunez as well.
Yeah, he was representing the Wolves managers, and Wolves basically had an agreement with him where their manager basically, as crazy it sounds, Wolves had an agreement where Mendes with their players. Yeah, forget players, like their manager had to be one of his guys. And if you think back a while ago, remember when Lopetegui took over the thing, there was a bit of gap in the middle where they weren't hiring anybody because Lopetegui wouldn't agree to it, and they couldn't sign anyone else until Mendes got Lopetegui to agree to it. Like, imagine having an agent having that much power over your club. That is a really, really bad scenario. Really bad scenario.
It's scary.
Yeah.
You can have his players and all of that, but don't have that kind of fucking level of influence on what can go on at your club. That's just really, really silly shit. Like, so I know we're probably we're a bit above that happening, but yeah, that guy has gone way beyond being a bloody agent now. He's some kind of football overlord or something.
Yeah. It's similar to who was Balotelli's agent?
But that was Mino Raiola. He passed away there about 2 years ago.
Yes. I know.
Yeah,
but even
they were like the two big guys.
Even the female, counterpart to him is just as highly reputed as
Yeah. For a while they were like Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. Like, they were the two big, like Mendes and Raiola were like the two first super agents, I suppose. Raiola a little bit more kind of controversial. Mendes probably a bit more, kind of silky, smooth talking kind of guy. Whereas Raiola just coming in banging his fists on the table and demanding Ferraris for everybody and this kind of stuff. So but these guys, way too much power. Way too much power.
Yes. Big up the streets have arrived, by the way. The streets have arrived.
Yeah. Streets are paved with gold for Canada.
I mean his goodness, listen. Really want to go there already? Anyway, no, but there's you take a look at let me read off some of these names on this list here, actually, and then I'm going to close this tab here. Ronaldo, Ruben Diaz, Master Splinter, Fabinho, João Cancelo, Diego Hata, Darwin Nunez, Rafael Leao, Ederson, let's see, Ruben Neves, Andre Silva, Pedro Neto, Renato Sanchez, Adama Traore, Nico. Then you get into some of the Spanish players that he offers too, which is like Rafa Mir. He's also Ryan Aït-Nouri is a player that he represents. Jaime Rodriguez, obviously Colombia.
Well, he's at Spurs.
I mean, there's some big names.
Yeah, that's some roster he's got there, hasn't he?
Fabio Vieira as well.
I mean, it's probably easier to just say name a Portuguese player.
Yeah, to say he's making some pretty pennies. What was that?
It's probably easier just saying. It's probably easier just saying name a Portuguese player that he isn't representing.
Very true. Very true. It takes a lot. I mean, like, this. He could have just said he represents CR7, and that would have been enough right there. But I mean, he's making a pretty penny that way too. But I'm sure a lot of those other names are pulling in plenty of agent fees for him with every signing of the pen. But yeah, so he's making a trip. I only brought up the other agents. What was the other agent name again? I'm gonna go blank on it again. You just said it.
Mino Raiola.
Yes, only because I know he's no longer with us, but I also know that he was very difficult to deal with as well, and notoriously difficult to deal with. And there's a lot of coaches that once they knew that was your agent, they actually just avoided trying to, despite your talents, they would just avoid trying to deal with you. Just kind of like notable, but not many coaches. A lot of days, the coaches aren't necessarily dealing with the agents per se. It's more so, the sporting directors and the likes. So, kind of puts a different spin on it. I believe that's the organization. Yeah, that's the agency that he has, right?
That's his agency. Yeah, Fute, yeah.
Yep. We are High Lord. We were talking a little bit about that. Just just loosely about at least that situation.
Those people you were listing off, like they were only like they're like his guys. Like
yes, right.
The
He
amount
has
of
other
players,
agents in his agency, right?
exactly. So when you think about like basically they're very, very, very like rarely a move for a big player. Like it's I know these players, they'll all tell it, they love their agents, and of course they do because their agents basically treat them like, you know, kings and all that, and they do everything for them.
Sure.
But and like the guy like Ferguson was famous for I think he was the first one to come out and go, I will not deal with that Raiola guy. He was the first one to have a big fall, or one of them anyway.
One of many.
Or the more famous
something
ones.
Similar. I think Jurgen said something.
Yeah. But the only thing I was thinking is just if it's in like only just quickly, it's like if it's an agent, like you're talking about the money they make, like technically it's in your agent's interest for you to be happy and doing well, but it's also in his interest, you know, foundationally, for you to move, because every time you move, that's when he gets his payday. Is when he doesn't get an agent's fee every year just when, you know, you've been there on the anniversary. He gets his big money when you either A, sign a new contract, or B, preferably for them, go to a new club, and that's where he gets his big cut. So when it is a little bit uncomfortable when that is kind of that guy's primary job to maybe always be looking to get you to move somewhere. Especially if you're an up and coming player, maybe when you're a top player at a destination club, perhaps not. But if you're a smaller club and you've got a really, really top talent, and you know that his agent is looking at that going, I can make 3 million off Liverpool buying him. Like say he plays for Hull or he plays for Bolton or something, you know, and he's a big, big talent. Like, you know that there's agents out there just itching all the time. Come on, let's go. Let's get a move. Let's do this. Let's go here. Let's go there. You know, because they do that to the agents. They dangle the money in front of the agents as much as they dangle it in front of the players. Like clubs act like they hate these agents, but when it's the other way around, they'll use them. They'll use them.
Different story,
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go down the. I think that as a former agent, like you definitely you want to fight for your clients, and you also want the best for your clients. Some agents are different. Some agents are just really looking at it from a selfish perspective, and they're trying to sometimes, you know, get the best deal that ends up making them a great chunk of money, but don't necessarily look at the best interest for their client. I think that's silly because, and if anything, the better your client does and the happier client is, the better prospects of you getting better deals, bigger deals, and like for yourself, if that's one of the motivators for you. But ultimately, as a client, or when you have an agent to client relationship, I think you have to take on like a family style perspective, and it's like having a big brother. You know, at least how I
wasn't having a go to all agents. I should have said like when I meant like for the kind of the bad apple type. When it's in their interest. Yeah, oh definitely. I know, There's some of these guys out there, they'll tell you that they couldn't have survived without their agents because they go away without their families and or they, you know, and all but big support from the right people. I should have said for when it is these
sometimes you're coming out of your own pocket too. Like a lot of times, like you're going to different like combines, or you're going to, for at least here in America, at least when I would go and take players, we'd go to combines and something like that. And like we're going to like Florida, or we're going to like these states where, you know, some of these guys have never even been to, you know, much less like much less like have they the amount of cash to be able to get there, get a hotel, you know, be able to like feed themselves. Like a lot of that's coming out of your own pockets in essence, you know, in essence. So, but that's how much you believe in your clients, and it shows. It's like a testament of you saying that you believe in your skills and talents.
An agent in any type of sport or anything, even for actors or something, if you're an agent for actors or models or something, if you have a reputation for doing well for your clients, they'll like more of flood to you, won't they? Or you will get more because you've got a reputation for doing what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Well, you get someone like Roy Keane. I know it's not, and I know some people have a lot of people have family, and that doesn't usually go very well. But
Right.
like someone like Roy Keane, he has his agent from day one. Like because when he had an agent, it was kind of like a new thing. He was like, I don't know, like why do I need it? You know, it was definitely people were a bit suspicious of it. So he just got this guy that he knows from Ireland. He's an accountant, and I think he's the solicitor as well. But he's never, that's not his, like it's just like you'll read a contract and be able to tell me if there's something dodgy in it. And so this guy just basically became Keane's agent for his whole life. He never agent for anybody else. Just handled Roy Keane stuff. He's like, yeah, right, that contract is sound. Sounds like the perfect way to do it. Like,
so isn't Trent's brother is his agent, correct?
I've heard that. I've heard that. Yeah, Harry Kane's brother, his agent, famously.
Yeah, it's his agent too. Sometimes you do stick with them.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, I'd probably do that if I was a player and my brother want, you know what I mean, to give my brother a good living as well, because it's a good living then for the brother, innit, to be the agent.
As long as their head is screwed on and they have their licenses and all of that.
Well, I was just about to say that too. FIFA's reduced the amount of hoops and barrels you have to go through to become an agent. So a lot more family members are taking that route nowadays. So, yeah, because it's not, you have to, like you just said, the licensing and everything else, it's not easy to become. It's not like you get to say, oh, I want to become an agent. And that's just, you just go with it like that. But
don't be disheartened, Crab. Don't be disheartened.
No, I wouldn't be disheartened.
There'll be rumblings.
I wouldn't be disheartened. Because there are some things happening. I mean, like there are some things happening. I was going as well as big up Ian, by the way. Big up Ian. I was going. We do need, if we haven't done a CB, we can do another CB deep dive. Then I thought we had already done it, because I know that we were looking at positions. I know that the DM position was a role that we really wanted to focus in on.
I don't think we did one.
I don't think so either. I
don't know. I don't remember it. I know we did the DM thing, but I don't. I mean,
we could do a CB one, because I know that is a role that we definitely need to fill, or at least we have the conception that we need to fill it. Do you think? Here's a question for the chat and also for the panel. Do you believe that if we were to go into this upcoming campaign, right? If we were to go into this upcoming campaign, do you think that it would be a massive disappointment or disheartening disappointment if we were to be told that we're going to go into this with Kwanzaa as our number one choice as VVD's partner, and we're going to platoon Kwanzaa and Kanate once again as the right back pair? Or do you see it as we have to go into the window and get a center back?
I think if we don't go into the win, if we don't go into the market and buy a centre back, it's absolutely ludicrous. After Joel Matip, because Joel Matip was a very valued member of the squad, and he isn't there anymore, so he needs replacing. It's not a case of same as. It's a case of, if we want same as, we've got to buy a replacement for Joel Matip. Or we're not same as, we're less than, we're diminished, we have less choice, so we need a replacement for Joel Matip. End of. Don't get that. I'll be furious. I will be fucking furious if you allow me to say that. If we don't buy a centre back, I couldn't give a tinker's cut if we don't buy a defensive midfielder. In comparison, I want both. I'd like both, a centre back, defensive midfielder. But if it came to it, I want a centre back first. If you're listening, Arnie.
Okay, that was definitely a full-throated response. I like it.
Yeah.
How about for you, Irishman?
I checked. We didn't do one.
Right.
Yeah, I'm at the. I saw a very good, impartial, kind of Liverpool buy, sell, or not buy, sell, keep or sell list today, and what they were saying about Kanate, which is because we're deep into the whole thing, and they're just saying, look, Liverpool have an absolutely superb defender on their hands. That guy is a top footballer, but he needs to stay fit. So when talking about what do we, would we sell? You keep him, but the guy has to be fit next year. Now maybe they're a little bit, because they're not Liverpool fans, they're a little bit behind us. We're kind of a bit further down the track of, well, we kind of don't really expect him to be. It's sort of like so. But I just say no. Like you're like to me, I'd be happy to go with that, right? I'd be happy to say, right, we're keeping Ibu and we're keeping VBD and we're keeping Kwanzaa, right? So that means, and we're keeping. I'm not even really going to count Comas. So, but yeah, 100%. Then you replace Matip, but who are you replacing Matip with? Someone to take Matip's place in the squad, or someone to take Kanate's place in the squad? So, that's a bit of a difficult call there. It'd be much easier if we sold Ibu.
When all three were fit, Joel Matip was the preferred option. When all three were fit last season, Joel Matip was the preferred option. So I think we do need to replace Joel Matip, because if we replace him, we won't be enhancing our squad, making it better. We'll just be making it as good as it was with Joel Matip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're just replacing someone. We're not making the squad any stronger, really. We're just keeping it at the strength it was. If we replace Joel Matip, without him, we only have one really experienced defender in Virgil, because Kanate isn't even that experienced. Yes, he is, but then again, no, he isn't, because he doesn't play very many games and never has done.
Yeah, it's a very difficult call to make, because you're trying to guess whether someone will be fit or not, basically, and you can't.
Yeah, and considering his record of staying fit, it's not exactly a promising outcome.
No, it's hard to judge you, Boo, because he's hardly. How many games is he? Can anyone Google that? Look it up.
Yeah, I can find out.
How many appearances?
Yeah.
Starting appearances without subs. I'd like to know how many times he's started.
Yeah, I'll get you.
Times he started.
And also, I was going to say, Ian says he thinks we need someone to replace Matip, just like you do, Lee, for the squad, unless they are going to look at Sepp Vandenberg again to fill that backup slot. Maybe I am going to be honest with you. I was very much optimistic that we would give Sepp a chance. I was very optimistic that Sepp would give us a chance to be a match again, considering that now, if there's ever a time if there's ever an opportune time to possibly, step up, be that guy and the likes, this is the time for him to possibly do so. He's had plenty of time to hone his craft in the Bundesliga. He's become an actual option and a very formidable option for his club in the Bundesliga. But
I'd like to see him in the pre-season, in the close season. I'd like to see him back here and playing in a few friendlies. I'd very much like to see that. I'd like to see him partner Virgil.
I reckon you will. I reckon you will see him play friendlies. I don't think he goes. Too easy. He's
the teams
going.
that want him don't have really the money. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut across you. I was saying the teams that want him don't really have the money, or don't want to shell out that kind of money for him at the price we have the evaluation in at. And we're not going to take some bargain basement evaluation just to get him out the door. I think that Sepp's got to understand that relationship too. But
Goldilocks. But Lee, you were just asking, just like if you're talking about Ibu, so 2023-24, 12 days out with thigh problems, 23-24, 20 days out with muscle injury, 22-23, 28 days out with knee injury, 22-23, 55 days out with a knee injury, 2021, 49 days out with an ankle injury, 2021, 106 days out with torn muscles, 1920, 14 days out. 1920, 160 days out with torn muscles. And 17, 18, 5 and 7 days. So you're talking about season 23, days missed 32, injuries, or games missed 8, 2022, 23, games missed 15, 2021, games missed 24, 1920, games missed 38, and 17, 18, games missed 4. So, yeah. When do we buy him?
When did we buy him?
Yeah. Wasn't it?
Yeah. It was 2000. Well, we bought him a year early, but
yeah, we did. Yeah,
but it was 2000.
Okay. So since then, he was
2021, 2022 seasons when he actually came to our league. We bought him in 2020. 2020, 2021 is when we bought him, but he actually played for us in 2021, 2022.
Yeah, so there you go. 24, 15, and 8 games. Yeah, it's consistent.
Incredible injury, isn't it? And all sorts of injuries.
Yeah. Thigh, muscle, knee, ankle.
It's being always the same injury. Maybe that's slightly better than it always being his knee or always being his ankle or always being his hamstring. It's been varied, at least we can say that.
Yeah, so for here, I can see here where it starts with Liverpool. So 2022-23 season. So, yeah, he's missed for us 55 days, 28 days, 20 days, and 12 days, which equates to 10 games, 5 games, 4 games, and 4 games. So, 4 games, 4 games, 5 games. Yeah.
I'm trying to answer Tyler's question because he's saying one season can make a difference. I was just going to say one season can make a difference. One season can make a difference, a big difference. 1 season ago, where was Kwanzaa and where was Bradley? Basically, is where he's asking, and I get where he's going with that, with that question, or with what he's bringing up. And obviously, Kwanzaa a year ago was the captain of the youth academy team, and I had a typo there, but Bradley, I don't think was on anyone's radar really. I don't even think Liverpool's radar really as a player that
a year ago.
Yeah,
a year ago he's at Bolton. Well, I mean, the season before the one just gone, he was at Bolton on loan playing there. So I mean, that's where he was. Yeah.
Right. But I'm just saying though that we were still out actively getting right backs. We had just bought a right back. I think this might be, we'd already had, Nico Williams had already, I think had already left, but we actually went out and bought a right back that we thought was going to be the heir apparent to Trent, actually, more so than Bradley, I thought. So.
It's true. But, what I was going to say before, the final thing I'll say about Canate is what I'm hoping for Ibu this season, if he stays here, is that maybe slot with a different formation could be his salvation, in that he wouldn't have to do as much like sprinting and stretching. Maybe if we played a flat back four with a 4-2-3-1, if Ibu had 2 players in front of him and he definitely had a right back at his side instead of right forward, it might be a bit easier on Ibu's muscles and his joints. And that's what I'm hoping, that's what this season represents, a turning point because of formation and a slight change in the style of play. Maybe if we could foster then alongside Virgil, that's what I'd hope. Because I'd love him to, because he is such a good defender. He just needs to be bloody fit. And I just hope something new can happen under Slot.
25, so you'd imagine all the growing is done. I'd imagine a lot, like when, look, the guy is about the size of 2 houses, to grow to that size and be playing, I'm sure you're to run as quickly as he does. Of course, you're going to have, injuries and stuff. But a lot of that would be to, growing up in your team. So I'd imagine maybe that, like, his body is probably kind of, fully grown now. He's probably those kind of issues must be past him. So I think with Lee again, we said it before. Like, it used to be Hendo's job to cover for Trent when Trent did his thing. Then Trent starts going inside. Then it becomes Ibu's job. I don't doubt that the amount of minutes and stress playing like that under Klopp would put on a guy. I don't doubt it at all. And yeah, giving him a more, what would you call it? A less like physically demanding kind of role, like not to be on it all the time.
Yeah,
but like you said, a man outside him and a man in front of him.
Yeah, I'd like to see some sort of double pivot then at like a 4-2-3-1 with maybe Endo and McAllister. McAllister can break further forward, but Endo and McAllister sort of both playing in that holding role, and Szoboszlai then forward to them. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I was just about to put it into the chat, but I was just going to say Calvin Ramsey is the player that I'd like to see get it. I think he's got some talent. I know they had high hopes, and there was some high praise for his talents. And we just, unfortunately, he's been injured, off again, injured, somewhat similar to what we're talking about for Ibu. And that's not exactly the greatest, mark of greatest mark to say that you're all on board on hope that he's going to amount to being that solid right back choice for us. I hope that it does go his way and goes our way too. But we'll see. I agree, Bernie, saying it would be interesting to see how many injuries all of our players have had in training. That would be interesting. Like how when they actually got she's saying, like, basically, at least my interpretation of her statement is, are a lot of these injuries being training related injuries as opposed to in-game injuries? That could be a big question. I know we did have quite a few injuries that were
fatigue as well. There's fatigue. Yeah. You have to take into account fatigue, which is basically a mixture of both. Which means, it's basically, it's not an injury that it's not a contact injury. It's like he got kicked on the knee. Now he has a knee injury. It's just like he got home after the game, and it's that classic one where they come in the next day and they feel sore, and it turns out to be something. So then people will say, "Oh, they're overtraining him." That was the classic thing. Like for years at the start of Klopp's reign, it was like, "Oh, he flogs players. They won't last. No player will last more than 2 years. He'll cause injuries. He trains them too hard. Blah 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 blah." That was it from day one. So yeah, it's just like those non-contact ones where a guy just comes into training, you just really don't know. Right. Was it from a game? Was it because you've been doing too much of this in training, or you haven't been doing that, or whatever it might be? But I don't think, if you were to look at it, and not that we can here now, not even going to try to, but if you were to look at us and compare us to other clubs, I mean, I don't think we're that bad at all. I don't think Klopp overtrains players or breaks players, or he puts miles on the legs, all right. But I don't think there's a lot. Yeah.
Hey, newsflash: if you have issues and problems with the way that Jurgen Klopp trains and the way that he runs his players in the system that he does, you're probably not going to like Slot, because there are reports that Slot has a very intensive training procedure, and he also has a very intensive commitment towards this intensity level that he demands for his players. So,
yeah. Well, we'll soon find out.
I agree too. Ian says this about Calvin Ramsey that I just brought up earlier. Ian says Calvin Ramsey needs a really good injury-free season on loan at Wigan in 2024-2025. He needs to use that loan spell like Connor Bradley did at Bolton. That is a well put statement, I think. That is a very well put statement.
Yeah, you got to get it back on track, and you're not going to get it back on track, because, like you said, he was brought in to a bit of fanfare, a potential sort of a backup for Trent, and maybe in 5 or 6 years' time. Well, Trent was only about 20. Yeah, well, Trent's only a young guy, so it's hard to think of someone coming in to replace him even yet. But yeah, it was a lot of money for a young kid. And he seemed to have the world at his feet. And then, as football can do sometimes, bang, one injury, and you're where he is now, having to go away on loan, rebuild, get it back to where it was. But the most important thing in those situations, and I think we've been good at this. Well, I think we've been good at this, and I think that showed with, because lads, this has been referenced twice now by people, with Conor Bradley going on loan to Bolton and win Player of the Year, is that we pick the right club for him to go to. With Elliot, Elliot going to Blackburn worked, because Mowbray had the right idea. We knew Mowbray was like, yeah, we're cool. We know what we, not like you tell us what to do, but it's like, no, I'm not going to take Elliot if we're not in tune. And we're like, you want him to do this? We want him to do that. He was playing him out wide a bit. We said to him, we kind of like him to move into the middle, because that's why we sent him out on loan, to get him to play in the middle. Mowbray's like, okay, cool, we can do that. Does that for a year, has a great season. You need to go out you don't need to go out to one of these clubs where they're changing managers every 5 minutes. Some new guy comes in and they're like, Calvin who? I don't want that guy. Get him out of here. I don't need some kid from Liverpool. I want this guy or that guy.
Right.
You got to get those clubs spot on when you're sending your young kids out on loan.
Right. That is true. And it helps if you send them to teams or clubs that at least remotely play a similar system. The last thing you want to do is send a player out and have him acclimate to a system that doesn't meet the Liverpool system, because then when he comes back, he's going to have to start over in essence, or if he's so dynamic, maybe you tweak the system to try to accommodate his skill sets. But chances are
that's why we were so happy to send Morton to Blackburn, wasn't it? Because it went so well with Elliot, and like you were saying,
Tyler Morton had a phenomenal year.
We knew they were playing the right way, and that's 100% correct what you were saying. Like, there's no point sending to a team that plays rugby. He comes back he's ready to kill them, be a bruiser.
Go ahead, the right team for the players' development. And hopefully that lacking with Ramsey, hopefully Wigan will be the right place for Ramsey to get back on the fitness, on the constant fitness train, instead of
Wigan isn't like a million miles away from Liverpool. I know it's not like up north, but Wigan isn't that far from Liverpool, is it? Wigan, it's not that far. Yeah, see, that's the other thing. And that's the thing. So is Bolton. Bolton's really close to Liverpool as well, right? So you're kind of keeping them local as well. You're not sending them to freaking Rayo Vallecano or Zenit St. Peter's, but you're keeping them nice and local as well, so they're near their families and stuff. Yeah, they're near their families.
No, yeah. That's just I get what you're saying. It's not like what we did with. Remember, we brought in what's it, Marco right? Yeah. And then we ended up proceeding to send him out on loan, but we didn't send him to another Premier League team, and we didn't we sent him to
well, no, I mean, but he's not from England. I just mean these kids that are from the area, you're keeping them.
I hear what you're saying.
We sent him. God, where did we send Benfica? Was it Ben? It was Benfica.
I think it was Porto. Porto.
Porto. Yeah.
Porto, yeah. And it was them that bought him in the end, wasn't it? They bought him for 13.8 million or something.
Yeah, but he was supposed to be our big signing for a while. That was our big, wonder kid signing, I guess you'd call it. If you want to call it.
Klopp's first ever signing.
5 million. I think we paid 5 million for him. We got 13.8 million for him.
For a guy that literally, basically never played for us.
Yeah.
But he will always go down in history as the first man ever signed by Liverpool by Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
Not the first player to join under Klopp. That was Coker, because we signed Grujic, but he didn't actually arrive till the summer. But Coker was a loan. He came into the January. But the first guy Klopp actually paid money for was Grujic.
We had this question from Richard. Richard asked, should we loan Bajcetic and Doak? I have an answer. I have my own answer for this one, but I'll go Irishman, then we'll go to Lee. Irishman, what's your answer on that one?
I'm very, very torn. Like Bajcetic, I thought for me, but last year was going to be a huge year for Stefan Bajcetic, and I was back then. Like last year, I was like, no, 100%, you do not loan him. We've got a fit Bajcetic at the time. Little were we to know, and I was also and a fit Thiago, and I was like, this is perfect now. Thiago playing with Bajcetic for a season before Thiago, like I was assuming Thiago was going to leave at the end of his deal. So in his last year, Bajcetic will get to come into the team and be mentored by Thiago. And I had it down that Bajcetic was going to play all the Europa League games, Cup games, was going to get plenty of time in the team. And he was starting to look like that guy. But then, boom, basically, the two of them played about an hour, 2 hours of football between them for us all season. Like the two guys.
Oh yes, yeah.
That I had
played,
down to
one
learn
game in Europa.
One game, and basically the same injury.
I think Thiago played one game against, I want to say it was FA Cup, right?
Yeah, it was.
Thiago made an appearance for us this year. He did make an appearance.
Yeah, in the Premier League, he played. And then he got injured and never played for us again.
I think it was Arsenal, wasn't it?
It was against Arsenal. Yeah, that's what I thought. FA Cup, I think, though.
So anyway, my long wind. I will land the plane. But that was my point. Was last season was by now Bajcetic would be in the team, kind of a cog in the team. But now the fact he's missed a year out, if it looks like he might not get games, I think I'd actually like to see him play every single week at a Real Valladolid or a high-level Spanish team. Maybe if Slot thinks he's going to get in the Liverpool team, keep him. But he's missed a whole year of football, which has set him back. So I don't want him missing a whole year of football and then sitting on the bench for a year, and then basically it's 2 years without him really ever kicking the ball for us, which I don't want. So if it's going to take a move to get him back, because I want him in our team. I think he's quality. He's a young kid. Who knows? But that's a really, really tough one. Yeah, I think it's a really, really tough one. If he says no, Bajcetic, FA Cup. We're in the Champions League now, so it's not that easy. FA Cup, League Cup, minutes in the league. Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, I'll go with that. Doak, I think, is an easier one. I definitely, if you say, again, a high level, like my preferred loan destination for domestic players is a high level challenging for the championship squad. I think it's the closest thing. I think it's a really good proving ground. So if Norwich or whoever got a Burnley or a Sheffield, whoever, if one of them came in for Doak, okay, cool, because he needs football as well. And if he's not, someone's Slot is saying, hey, no, he ain't leaving. This boy is in the 23. Yeah. Cool, great. But him, I think definitely. Bajcetic, it's just that year out, man. My plan for Bajcetic has not worked out at all. But by this time, he was going to be kind of our almost, if not starting games, maybe getting 15 in the league next season. That's what I would have him at that level, this progression now. But look, that's life. It happens.
Okay. Well, look, it's a new manager, and the new manager's going to want to see him, in my opinion, because he's done well. And when Arne Slot arrived, he'd been told that Bajcetic's done well when he got in the team, but then unfortunately missed last season. So Slot will be aware of all this, and hopefully he'll want to see him play, and he'll give him enough games, League Cup, FA Cup, Like you say, we haven't got the Europa League this year, so as far as Ben Doak goes, with no Europa League, you can't see him starting Champions League games. So I would loan him out to the best offer from a Championship side. A Championship side who Slot thinks will develop him well over, I don't know, 12 months. Let's say.
Would this be someone that you could consider, Lee? Richard has an answer.
Yes, without a doubt, I'd loan him to Leeds because I like Leeds anyway. Yeah, without a doubt, I'd loan him to Leeds.
It's like you have those things now where like you see these boys, some of them they go out, and after 2 months, it's like the phone rings. It's like, you haven't played our boy more than 8 minutes in a game since we sent him on loan. That was not the agreement. He's coming back. You can do that now. And clubs do that when they sit down, like they do it properly, like we're saying, they map out like we're not to, oh look, hey, we've got this kid. No, they sit down. Look, you don't tell the club that he has to play. If he's awful or he shows up late for training, half pissed, of course you don't play him. But when he's fit, there's a kind of an agreement in place. Like, or say for instance, look, the agreement was, why are you playing him on left wing? We want to send him out to develop as a right back. This kind of stuff. So you can call these players back, but that hasn't happened for us, which shows we are picking the right places to send them. And I think more often than not, they're coming back better players. We don't, like Morton and Bradley, the two best examples. So if we can get Doak to come back as a better, fully formed version of him, that's I think what we need. I don't think he's going to get the minutes in the league to do it, especially not with Slot doesn't have time though, does he? Slot needs to win Premier League games right off the bat.
He does.
He don't got youth development at the forefront of it. He's got to get the fans on board, meet on, get wins, get points. We can think about developing Ben Doak in 2 years. Unfortunately, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and hey, Dara, by the way. Hey, Dara. And hey, K-Mac. Dara, K-Mac, everyone that has come in the last few minutes.
Yeah. They're talking about USA. We can talk about that in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. I was telling Lee about how it was very interesting because I got one of the questions, or I got included in a conversation with Brian McBride and Charlie Davies. They actually brought up something that I was like that I was actually trying to directly conversate with them in a discussion. So it's pretty cool. But what I was going to say about the initial question about Ben Doak and about it was about Ben Doak. Now I got kind of sidetracked. And Bajcetic as well. I think a lot of what you both said are spot on. In my opinion, I personally like when players stay with the club because I do like when players are allowed to develop into the system, and in the sense of like, even if it's with the younger academy players as well. I like it when they are being taught the things that they're going to be asked to do in the next stage, which is with the senior team. And I know we spoke on other clubs that definitely have systems that are very much similar, if not almost completely similar, to our own. But there's certain things that because you're within the system, you're going to figure out the demands of what you need to bring to the table. I also would say that with Doak, I think, unfortunately, the injury hit Doak at the wrong possible time. I know no injury ever hits you at technically the right time, but he was going to make this squad and be a player with this squad. And considering the comment that you made earlier too, Irishman, is about us being in the Champions League this year as opposed to Europa, he was going to play in Europa most likely. He was going to be able to get minutes, invaluable minutes against decent talent.
He got dropped though after a poor performance in Europa. He was dropped, if I remember, after kind of ineffectual performance in Europa. Then he got the injury, but yeah, it's timing. It's timing.
Why?
Like,
yeah.
I don't know if I don't necessarily know if you could say that he got. I don't know if he got dropped. I think he did.
Well, he came in,
yeah,
and he got taken off, didn't he? I know. Well, I'm just saying he got dropped. Like he didn't play again in the tournament when he got the injury. But yeah, the only thing I would only counter slightly is that I have, like, a lot of times you will hear the players talk about how it's amazing when you get to the academy and you're at the peak, but then they'll say that it wasn't until they went out and played men's football, what they will call men's football, because they're juniors, is right. That's when they really learn the game, or and if you can't get that can kind of round out a player. So it's all about picking. I think, like, that guy that doesn't need. I don't think there's a catch-all. It's about picking the right player to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he needs basically a finishing school kind of thing in playing every week. We can't give it to him, but he needs like, he's too good to not play. He's not good enough to play for. He's in that little spot there. Then you got the guys that no, he's not going out on loan. He's coming straight into the team. And then you got the guys that are obviously need to just go out, play football for a while, get their heads together, whatever it might be. It's all about picking the right guy. Because some of them, you see them, they react really badly when they get told they're going out on loan. And they're like, we thought this would be good for you. Like, you're going to a really good club. You're going to play every week, and they react badly. So it's
I'm interested.
It's a juggling act.
Yeah. Kai Gordon, as the Kmart was pointing out, he was. I think Kai Gordon was ahead of him. I think Kai Gordon was ahead of everyone, to tell you the truth. Kai Gordon was looked at the same way that I think Ben Doak was looked at last season, in that he was one of the top youth selections that they were going to try to incorporate into the lineup. But unfortunately, Kai Gordon got the injury and then had to deal with a lot of different setbacks. Yeah, he had to deal with a lot of different setbacks. And then, Ben Doak got a bad injury, and he's been having to deal with a lot of setbacks as well. And I think it was big of him to not actually try to push staying with Team Scotland, for instance, and maybe chancing his getting injured or coming back too soon type situation. Who knows with that scenario. But I was just going to get at the other thing about Bajcetic. I think I had the same ideas as I was hoping that we'd have a healthy Thiago. He would learn from the master. They're both Spanish, so he would learn from one of the masters. He would naturally, transgress into being a Thiago-esque. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be Thiago. Thiago is himself. I don't know how to put it. Like, he is a one-off type thing. But with Bajcetic, I was hoping that he would develop well. And again, injuries and this whole growth spurt thing that he was going through as well, and it didn't exactly help him during the time. But we got to see him for one opportunity again. We saw him in Europa. Saw him in a position that none of us really expected him to play. Played right back for us in that game, and
that's the one I loved him, and I loved him in that inverted row. I thought it was brilliant. Yeah, I don't like the inverted row, but I thought when I saw that, I was like,
it makes sense. Yeah,
yes,
yeah, like this makes sense.
Because he used to be defender right back, but they do that when they're kids. But yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh yeah. Yeah, I can get on board with that one.
Yeah. But again, I know K-Mac's still bringing up Kai Gordon. Kai Gordon is a talented player. Look, Kai Gordon we were looking at Kai Gordon to be loosely, and this is very loosely put, to be a, Mo Salah understudy in essence too. I know that's what was being deemed as Ben Doak's role last year, but I mean, Kai Gordon is a good player. And he is he's still very young. He's only 19 years old, I believe, right? Or 20 years old. He's 20 years old, somewhere there.
We've actually turned 20, Kai Gordon. But he's a very young player still. It was a bad injury. Bad injury. I'm interested to see what Slot makes of Fabio Carvalho, and Slot will have his own coaches. So Carvalho's going to have a new coaching staff, and he's not going to have any Linders. He's not going to have any Klopp. He's not going to have any of the other ones, and we'll see how he responds to new management.
It should be interesting because I think the biggest question is one that I don't think any of us have the definitive answer for, and that is, what formation are we going to play? Because that dictates a lot of what we're saying with a lot of these players as to which players we're going to keep, which players can really fill these roles that we're setting. If it ends up being that we play a 4-2-3-1, that's a much different setting than a 4-3-3, or, I don't hypothetically we play, we're not going to, but we can play a 4-4-2 or something like that. That brings a different setting to what we're asking these players to bring to the fold.
Well, I was just going to say quickly that
it's fluid, aren't they? You can, when you've got a 4-2-3-1, that can turn into a 4-4-2 easy, can't it?
Well, not too easily. It depends. Because if you're setting up at that 4-2, if that 2 is very much say it's an Alonso and a Mascherano. Say it's the obvious one for it. It's a deep line quarterback playmaker and a Mascherano type player. That can't easily become a 3 because Alonso's not an 8. If you've got 2 6s, 2 out and out 6s, it is more defined. It sounds like it just becomes the 10 drops in and becomes a 4-3-3.
So if we play
if you use him, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it really depends on the profile. It depends on the profile of the 2 in the 4-2-3-1, how easily you can transition into a 4-3-3, and also, the guy that's the 1 in the 4-2-3-1, we're talking about how getting the best out of Darwin Núñez in a 4-2-3-1, and we're suggesting that the 4-3-3 isn't working. So that guy that also needs to be. So it sounds like it can very easily, a 4-2-3 very easily become 4-3-3. But no, not if those 2 6s are 6s and one is a deep line destroyer and one is a deep line playmaker. That can't very easily become a 3 with a 6 and 2 8s in it.
It's a lot of players right there, Richard. Too, by the way, a lot of players. Have out on loan.
I'm excited though about what.
Some of those players we ended up utilizing last year. So a lot of those players actually. He's putting on their loan. Peter Luga, Williams, Nat Phillips, Beck, Van der Berg, Bachete, Doak, Carvalho, Ramsey, Mazurek, Yaros, Scandlin, Chambers, Mito, Connell, Leone, Morton, Clark, Kumas, Danny, Blair, and Hyde Gordon. That's a lot of. Not all those players are going to be on loan, Richard. I think that's what you might be saying, or not. But I also put in there. There was a question. So K-Max said he thinks we'll play a 4-2-3-1, but he says, but who knows? And then Dara also says it depends on the opposition. I think that I've said this, and this is a question I know Irishman's heard me ask this question before. I don't know if I've asked Lee this question, but the most famous question that I like to bring up, or at least the most famous question of mine that I like to bring up is, do you want a formation you can change, or do you want one that teams have to change for? That's the most important question of we did do a whole range of different formations. For instance, whenever I get into these conversations with a lot of different panels, or at least even when I'm in the chat, people will talk about, we're 4-3-3, we're a 4-3-3, we're a 4-3-3. Yes, we are in essence a 4-3-3, but we also play with an inverted role in Trent. We've also adjusted in you talked about fluidity. We do a lot of fluidity with our front line, especially. Whereas, and there'll be times when you'll see Mo in the center, You'll see maybe, you'll see we've seen Lucho on the right, maybe, or you might see Nunez on the right, and you might see, even Lucho in the center maybe at points and times, or Cody in the center and Cody on the left, and Cody on the left. It's all very fluid. So, I get that people sometimes think of it's a rigid form. We're going to come out, we're going to have a 4-3-3, and that's it. That's not exactly how it always goes. But to get to the point, I think that that is one of the biggest questions I've always had to ask, is that, are you wanting a team that teams have to adjust for? And this is, I think I brought this question up right around the Carlos Ancelotti quote about how we were easy to prepare for, or something along those lines, because they knew what we were going to be doing. But do you want a team that teams have to change for, and they have to play out of position, or they have to play a form of football that they're not used to playing? Or do you want a team that you change and you're interchangeable enough for? Lee, I see you have an answer for that one, I think. Huh? Is that you making that face?
Yeah, I prefer other teams to change to accommodate us than us having to change to accommodate them.
Okay. Simple said. I know I've asked you the question before, Irishman. Do you?
No, yeah. It's better if you can go out, if you're a good enough team to be able to go out and go, this is what we do, live with it.
Live with it. Yeah, exactly.
You do it every day, you do it every week.
Right.
And I think what Ancelotti was saying was correct in that. Yeah, you know what we're going to do, but if we do it right, it will beat you. It wasn't. Most players, most managers will know what other managers are going to do. It's just whether you can beat it or not. And then at the end of the day, you can set it all up on paper, on a whiteboard, or on a tactics board, on a computer, but you've got to send 11 lads out on the pitch who have their heads right and who care enough and want it enough. And so it kind of, yeah, you can say, oh, he's going to do this, so run in there. Yeah, okay. It worked, a little bit, but also it's not that simple. So sometimes, like what we did, we didn't change our game for anybody. When we were dominating Europe and dominating England, we just dominated. We just did what we did. Nobody could live with it.
I personally rather say, hey, it's sort of like, I know it's a basketball reference, but it's like, with the Chicago Bulls, they run that their offense was called a triangle. The triangle offense, they called it.
Yeah.
I mean, when they went up against the Boston Celtics or the Lakers or whoever they was, their big opponent, they didn't all of a sudden say, "Oh, we've got to change it up." No, they just kept running the same system. You want to beat us? You beat us at our game, because we're going to be the perfectionists of this game. And
I like a manager who has the nous and the brain to be able to go, do you know what, they're going to do that, we're just going to counter it with this.
Yeah.
That's like, and I like a manager who can make the right changes at the end of the game to lock down the game and see it out, but little that kind of stuff, but no, we go out and we are us, and that's what we do. And if we do what we're good at, then 9 times out of 10 we'll win games. That's kind of the dream, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Lee, you were going to say something?
Your analysis team, don't you? We had Peter Kravitz, didn't we, under Klopp. Slot will have his own analysis guy to analyse opponents, and I mean, I'm sure he will play different ways against different sides. He'll look at the way different sides play and think, this is how I'll play against Ten Hag, or this is how I'll play against Guardiola. He's probably already thought of that, hasn't he? And he's getting in his mind about what will be his best personnel to pursue these goals.
It's about innovation. I think it's basically these guys, they know each other's games inside out. Like the likes of Guardiola will know what Arne Slot has for breakfast. I'm not joking. He'll probably know what he has for breakfast. He'll know if he's a jogger. He'll know if he plays tennis. He'll know is he a chess man? Is he a disc? What's he into? What's his mindset? He'll know all this kind of stuff. He'll know how his first how his first youth team played in an under-14 game. These
Mhm.
guys know each other inside out. So the idea is to come out, I think it's always been to come out with a bit of a joker in the pack. And to be able to go, they won't be expecting this. They'll expect us to do this, yeah, because that's what we do. But we can't be predictable. If you're predictable, you're dead.
No, yeah, I
And
get
that's what
that.
Ancelotti was alluding to. If
Mhm.
you're predictable and you don't have the players to overpower the opposition, then you're dead. You have to come out with have the other manager kind of glancing across, going, "Hang on a minute, where's he playing? What's he? I thought he was. That's really the only way to get ahead. Innovate, change, innovate, and
Mhm.
make other people trying to. Oh well, I thought Guardiola was going to do this. Now he's doing this. Is he actually doing that, or has that just happened for 5 minutes? No, Cancelo is actually playing as a number 10, not a left back. Oh, okay, we got to deal with that now. That kind of thing. Maybe I don't
Mhm.
know. Especially in these days of systems, every system.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you're not relying on that individual to
Well,
go and man mark Ronaldinho. He's their best player, and that'll stop them. No, it's not as simple as that anymore, really, is it?
right. No, I was just going to comment on because I know Dara brought up something about does he have the courage to
He did
do?
ask me a question. I
Yeah,
can't see my phone, so can you bring it up? What he said,
yeah.
because I can't.
It says, but does he have the courage, Brian? Expectations are enormous.
Oh well, yeah. This is the thing, there. Who can no? I tell you, who can answer that question? Nobody, because it hasn't happened yet. So we are
I was
yet
going to
to
say
find out.
this, Brian. I
We
was
are
going to
yet
say
to
this.
find out.
I think that reason why I answered in the chat that I think he does have the courage to do something like that is because he has had the courage to do so in previous teams that he's been the manager of, which is one of the things that was put on his scouting reports that I was reading is that he has, and what people were saying, at least because I was talking with some of my Dutch friends now that do heavily watch the Dutch league, and they were saying how he is not scared to make adjustments during the game, like as in, for instance, when we had Mo Salah ripping off tape and throwing it down, getting mad, and it was like a big thing because, like, hey, we rarely see Mo Salah get subbed out of the game, much less when a game is still in the fight. And
Yeah.
they were saying that basically he's not scared to sit someone down when they're not doing what he needs them to do. And it's not easy to be that coach, to be able to say to a veteran player, especially players that might have more clout, or at least in their mind have more clout or more, money in the bank, I guess you could say, when it comes to opinion with fans and the like, to be able to say, what are you doing? Like, you don't sit Virgil, you don't sit Mo Salah, you don't. Some people would say that naturally, but there are some coaches out there that have the courage to do so. And apparently Slot is one of those coaches, and that's one of the reasons why they were looking at bringing him in.
Well, that's the thing, is if Dar has said, has he had the courage to do this in the past? We could say, yeah. But if you're asking, will he do it in a big game in 8 months' time? We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
All I will say about him is he's had the bravery. Now, again, we'd all bite your hand off, right? We'd all bite your hand off. But I would say he has had the bravery to not only take the Liverpool job. Yeah, again, you don't get a St. George Cross for bravery, get taken there, but he's taken over from Jurgen Klopp. So he's backing himself. If nothing else, the guy backs himself. Because you are, as Sarah said, a lot more pressure. But again, does he turn it down? Probably not. But he's probably extremely nervous, as anyone would be. He's taken over probably, the most storied Premier League team that we've had. The first one to win it, multiple European Cup finals, won a trophy there, multiple other trophies. So the guy has you got to say, has some brass balls on him. Say, yeah, I can take over from that guy. I mean, nobody can, but I hope he gets the back. But if nothing else, I think it's shown that he does have self confidence. So yeah, he can. I can see him standing up to a guy and going, you're not doing it for me, and using that to win the, you have to do that. You don't win respect if you don't stand up to the people who are playing badly.
Right.
I hope, I give him, all the best will in the world. I just hope it goes well for him and the players back him.
We all do. I think we all definitely do. I think. I mean, it is. Oh, I shouldn't say all. I'll caveat that, because I mean, like,
even just 2 years of keeping it real.
Our fan base has definitely become, more of a case of the times. Whereas sometimes you find fans out there rooting against players that play for your team, rooting against coaches, rooting against the team in general, all over, just because of, they have these like agendas that they're trying to uphold, which is kind of weird. I don't understand that at all when I see people be like, oh yeah.
But even if he just kept it on the level for 2 years, right? Even if he just kept it, we finished. He does 2 years. We finished third, and we finished third.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, Alonso is available or something, and we like, even that, I'm fine with that.
Right.
I don't expect this guy to go out and set the world on fire and win Premier Leagues. I mean, Klopp had enough trouble doing it, so why are we all of a sudden going to criticize this guy if he doesn't do it? Just keep us level. Don't tank it. Don't burn the place down. Keep us in the Champions League, which is where we need to be and deserve to be. 2 years, a second and a third, or a third and a third. And okay, fine. Look at you. You weren't the next Arrigo Sacchi, but we're going to move on. You did well. You did fine. Nothing went disastrous. I'd be fine with that. I'm not expecting this guy to come in and go, if he's not winning the league, but if he's not 8 points ahead by February, I'm slot out. As long as you see progress, tangible progress, or good football. Look, good football is kind of the number one thing. Like, we should be able to maintain a very high league position and play good football. So
sorry.
I'll just take that. Just good football first. That'll get the fans on side. Good, attacking, attractive football, and go from there.
Good luck, Brian. If you think that's all we got.
Well, I mean, I
know this. I just know that. I just know the forums of our fan base that I've been a part of. It doesn't. You give them entertainment, they want results. You give them results, they want entertainment.
Well, I know. Well, those people can't be saved. Those people can't be saved. Okay, so I mean, the fence sitters, the people who are on the fence, at least start scoring goals and just make it look. Football is supposed to be fun. It's entertainment. So get out on the pitch, play good football, score goals, and you'll have an easier ride at least.
I've got some quick fire topics I wanted to definitely give you guys and see if you can answer some of these questions for the people. And I do see that Richard asked, "Are we getting top four?" For instance. I have a better question. I think that we are getting top four. I definitely think that we will compete for top four, despite the fact that we don't have Klopp in the reins. But what I was going to ask is this: do you think? And this is a walk, so we can do more than just, I guess, we can walk around the league, I guess, a little bit here. Who do you have getting top four? And who do you have miss? Obviously, who would you, and then thus, who do you have just missing out on top four?
I think City, Liverpool, and Arsenal will be the top three again. And the fourth team will be possibly Chelsea. Maybe Tottenham, Chelsea or Tottenham. I'm hoping that United lose out on the Champions League 2 seasons in a row and stay in exile.
I don't even want them to have Europa, to be honest with you, but yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. How about for you, Irishman? Who's your top four?
What's it? Oh, my top four. Yeah, I think City and Arsenal. Unfortunately, I know this is going to sound wrong, but I think they're nailed on to finish in the top four, because I think Arsenal have the stability now. That they're not going to finish fifth. It would be Arsenal to finish fifth would be stupid. That's almost impossible. So they're going to have to finish in the top four. Looking at it logically, obviously City do as well. Then, wow, I mean, like I said, I take us, but one, bit of a misfire. If like we're saying, that season doesn't quite go so well for Slot, maybe we do miss out by a couple of points. I can't see it. I'd nail us on for the top four, but I wouldn't bet the mortgage on it. Especially with all the upheaval, new regime, new everything. It only takes one season. I couldn't go near Chelsea for it. No way. They're all terrible. Like like Chelsea have hired. I don't know what they did. I don't know why they did what they did manager wise. That doesn't make any sense. So I can see him getting 4 or 5 months, and they get another manager in. So I couldn't put. That's the thing. You got like a load of like Aston Villa. Can they do a Champions League season and then do it and then qualify again? Not without big investment.
That's why, Brian. You know why I asked this question, Brian, too, and why and Lee and to the chat, because I know that the whole talk that we've been going through with this whole Gordon, I would call it a slight fiasco, but I mean, like with this whole Gordon talk about him possibly coming to or us, him being shopped to Liverpool, and Newcastle obviously not making Champions League this upcoming Champions League. They were in it last year, but obviously they dropped out. And again, this year they didn't make it. So they have PSR restraints that they're trying to meet, and they also know that it is a very, very big priority for them to make Champions League again. So with that said, there's only 4 teams that are making it right now, at least. I don't know if we're going to get the 5th team or not or whatever. I don't know. I don't even know how that's even like going to be working with the new format and the whole 9 that's going to be going with the Champions League. But and I will get it down. I'll research it for you guys. I know we should possibly even do a show on that, considering that it's going to be a whole different structure of your mind to get around. But Newcastle needs to get Champions League. They just need to get Champions League if they're going to try to become one of those elite clubs that they're so targeted for. But all the same, with the resurgence of Arsenal, obviously with Manchester City, I don't know if they're going to be in the league or not, but if they are, let's just go under pretense that they are.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So City and Arsenal, just as Brian said, are pretty much nailed in now as contenders always for that top 4. I like to believe that we are as well. That would be 3 teams that are going to be considerable favorites to make that top 4. That only leaves 1 spot. But yet that doesn't mean that there aren't teams that are viable teams. You already said Manchester United. You already spoke of Chelsea. I just spoke of Newcastle. Like as in that's 3 teams, and that's not even and not to overlook our friendly Spurs out there as well. Big up to some of our Spurs. Out there. That's good 4 clubs all fighting for that top 4 spot again. So in essence, we have like 7, if not 8 teams that you could arguably say are in contention for 4 spots.
And you wonder why they want a Super League.
Everyone's not getting Europe, by the way.
You wonder why they want a Super League.
Yeah. I didn't say that. That was the Irishman saying that. By the way.
Yeah, that's what these boys say. Like, they don't like the fact that 5 into 4 doesn't go. 7 into 4 doesn't go.
Right.
They want to be able to
They want a piece of the pie. Yeah.
You hire a bad manager, you get a couple of injuries. Your big $1 billion project doesn't make the Champions League because boo-hoo. Guess what? An Aston Villa or a Tottenham or even a Leicester City has an amazing year, and there's 1 less place at the top. Even when the usual suspects are all there, it's sport, and they don't like that. They don't like the fact that they can't be guaranteed every year their big money competition. Which, when they're guaranteed it every year, no one's really going to care that much about it. Well, kids will, I suppose. People growing up will think it's the bestest thing ever, but it's just, oh yeah, you're playing, yeah, you're in your no relegation European Super League. Great, well done. You bought your way into it, and you can never be relegated from it. So yeah, those trophies must be hollower than, I don't know, a hollow thing. It's just whatever. Like, but that's what they want. And sometimes I just think, let these guys go. But I just, I don't ever want us to not be part of what we're part of, because this is who we are. I mean, this is what we are, the league, European football as we know it. So any kind of thing that means I know people say, yeah, the Premier League was a breakaway league. Yeah, true. It is, but it's in the same country. It's not like this kind of FIFA video game nonsense. Like, they're making it anyway, right? This new expanded Club World Cup thing. The people, because they've thrown so much football at people, they haven't even realized this is happening. Most people don't even know this Club World Cup. That used to be like 3 or 4 teams playing in it, and then it'd be like 2 games and you get to the final. Now it's a whole big freaking tournament. Like, well, not a big tournament, but it's a big deal now. Loads of teams in it. And the next World Cup with like 150 teams in
it. Well, I found that it was the reason why I found it was very interesting to have this conversation was because I know I saw Chloe from Redmen TV talking. I mean, she's so on board about Gordon apparently, and that could be a whole nother episode. But when I saw her talking about it, I also remember saying to myself, like, look, we're in a unique situation, being Liverpool, in that we're not stuck under some PSR BS. So it's not like we're having to shuffle and get rid of players because we're trying to make sure our books are square when it comes to bringing our books to the Premier League, or even bringing our books to the Champions League, or excuse me, to UEFA, I should say. For to make sure that we are good with them, because there are some slight differences, but they're pretty close. But they're also, there are different settings for both UEFA and the Prem. But why I'm bringing it up again is because Newcastle we're not in a bind. Newcastle, you are. And to think that you have the gall to say, well, I'm going to rate this guy at 100 million. That's similar to like your house is being foreclosed on, and you're doing this big yard sale, for all your stuff. But yet, like, you're going to sit there and say, no, I'm not going to sell. Well, guess what? We'll come back in like a couple of days when you have to sell and tell me if you have the same opinion. I mean, it's like you're not coming from a position of power. And I think that's where, like, I think a lot of Newcastle fans, plus Newcastle themselves, are really misunderstanding, in my humble opinion. I think that's what they're misunderstanding.
Have they missed out on Europe entirely, Newcastle? Or did they get in Conference League?
Well, no, they're not in Europe at all. I don't even think they're not in Europe at all.
Conference League then?
No, because I know it was either Newcastle or I know Chelsea got knocked out of it as well. I'm not sure if I think Newcastle got knocked out as well too.
No, they got you're talking 5th Tottenham, 6th Chelsea, 7th Brighton, 8th Newcastle, if I remember correct.
Okay.
If I remember correct, I think that was 5th.
But it was because Man U got FA Cup.
Oh, Man U. Sorry, I forgot Man U in there.
Yeah, Man U got because Man U got the FA Cup. They are now going to. They're now going to be in Europa, which knocked out Chelsea. Chelsea was going to be in Europa, but then they got.
Would they not be in the conference still? No.
Yeah, they're in the
Chelsea not in the conference league. Yeah. So that would knock out the other 2 boys. So even though, like, 8th, I mean, the idea like 7th can be finishing in Europe is stupid. It used to be like 1 or 2. That's okay, but you're getting to the point where it's half the league are in Europe now. And
Pretty much.
they'll invent some other competition. So you kind of devalue things eventually. If you dilute them enough, you will devalue it.
Mm-hmm.
So when everybody gets to be in something, you don't really get to call it an elite, champion of champions, Champions League. Those tend to be kind of for the cream of the crop.
Mm-hmm.
Create. So we all love football. We love watching matches, but again, you need to have kind of like be able to say no. We won that trophy. Because we always say, "Oh yeah, but you won this." No, we won that trophy. And for people, no one can turn and go, "Yeah, well, that's the toughest one to win. That's the best one." Yeah, you have to be able to keep that level high, otherwise you can't really kind of brag about them too much.
Yeah.
No, but did they not sort themselves out though with the selling the two boys, Anderson and
that's
Minte
what
or
was
something?
said. Yeah.
So now they can go and
I'll
trigger
give you
what
the
they
list
want.
too. By the way, this is the confirmed qualifications. So obviously for UEFA Champions League, it's Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, because I know Villa is a name that doesn't often get put into the higher elite, but all the same,
How can they? Or will they? How do you think? Side question: how do you think they'll get on next year? Will they be able to handle both the league and the Champions League?
Yeah, I think
they'll find the Champions League tough, Villa.
If I didn't rate their coach, I would say no. They'll have
Unai Emery,
But Emery is a very, very good coach. I think
he's a European master.
Right, it won't be his first rodeo.
No, this guy knows Europe. I expect him to. I would, if you were to ask me now, I would say up in Europe, down in the Premier League. I actually think they're going to do well
that'll be interesting.
Yeah. It just depends because if they're prepared, they should probably be prepared to go. Let's go for a run in this, and we didn't really expect to be in it, maybe, or do they go? Because I don't think they can realistically say, well, we're going to stay in the top four now.
Right.
Every season. I think they should go. And he's what's he won like four UEFA or four Europa Leagues, three Europa Leagues.
Yeah, finals at least. And
no, he's won at least three.
He's won
at least three.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying he's been in four finals. I know that.
Oh, he's been in loads of them. Yeah, that guy is serial. So he knows how to do really well in Europe. Champions League's obviously different, but no, it'll be. I'd interested to see what happens to him because
yeah,
most people say, they'll finish in 8th because they'll have to concentrate on Europe. They'll end up taking their eye off the ball. And so like I'm kind of thinking who moves up because we're talking about who can finish up there. So they might drop out. I think that might open up.
Right.
Maybe,
I'm sure our just arrived guest thinks that, maybe. Oh no, actually he did tell us where he thinks his team's gonna get. Yeah, I think he said 15th. I think is where he wanted to. He thought his team would end up.
Just above relegation because they got them big old points deductions coming.
Yeah. But I was just gonna add the teams are again. So Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool. I put it into the chat for you guys as well. And then Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa. Then for Europa League, it's Spurs and Manchester United. And then for actual Conference League, it's Chelsea. So because of Manchester United getting FA Cup, they bumped Chelsea from Europa to the Conference League. And I don't know who was in Conference League already, but because of that made whoever was in Conference League get bumped out, in essence.
Probably Brighton, because I thought Brighton were in it.
I'd have to look. Yeah, I'd have to look to see.
Brighton finished right up there. There's no way Brighton were lower than 8th. No way.
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know. Actually, I could tell you. Give me a second here.
Yeah, there's this thing called the internet. You can look shit up on it.
Yeah, I can look this up for you. Yeah.
That wasn't. No, we hadn't. Yeah, but we've done Newcastle. Who's the other thing? Who's the next one after Newcastle?
Yeah, because it's weird. Because if you look at the,
no, it was Newcastle. Newcastle was 8, so Brighton must.
Newcastle was 7th. Newcastle was 7th. So
I'm losing this quiz.
This was 23-24 standings. Was Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Tottenham, Chelsea, Newcastle, and then Man U, West Ham, and then Crystal Palace. That was the top 10.
Where did Brighton finish?
Brighton finished 11th.
Jesus, what happened to Brighton? Okay, yeah, I forget everything I said about Brighton. Jesus.
Yeah, Brighton finished 11th. Bournemouth was 12th. Fulham was 13th. Wolves were 14th. Everton finished out where Ant's team wants to finish, 15th. Brentford, Forest, and then obviously Luton, Burnley, Sheffield United.
And they got a point deduction too, Ant. So don't worry. And they play in blue, so you should. They got
point deduction twice.
Yeah. Twice. So and
they were so nice they did it twice.
Yeah, you should be good.
Yeah, they did have some massive injuries. I agree with that. They did. Every team does, for the most part. They all have. Every team has some type of.
They did sign a striker today. Actually, Everton signed a. They spent 20 million on a striker today. What's it? Ndai. The guy that was playing on loan some recently. Yeah, 20 million. So Everton have a new striker that's only going to score 3 goals next year.
Yeah.
And no one will ever remember he played for them.
Yeah. I don't want to jinx it. He'll probably do well. He'll probably one of his only good games will probably be when it comes to the derby. Probably.
Dude, he's playing for Everton under Sean Dyche.
Hey, Calvert-Lewin was the same thing, man. He had a crap year, and then all of a sudden, anyways. Yeah, so Tottenham and Manchester United making the Europa made Chelsea. And that's why I said it. Newcastle missed out. Newcastle would have been in at least Conference League. But because of that Manchester United FA Cup win, Newcastle doesn't even make Europe next year.
Sucks to be Saudi. I mean, Newcastle.
What's that?
I said, sucks to be Saudi.
Yeah. So yeah.
How is Eddie? Does Eddie Howe? I was going to say how does Eddie, but yeah. Well, how does Eddie Howe keep his job after that? I mean, they're going around asking 150 for Isaac, 100 for Guimaraes, 80 million for Gordon. God knows what they'd ask for Sven Botman.
Easy, man. How does Howe keep his job the same way that Eric Sevenhaug kept his? Eric Sevenhaug has basically, I get it, he won silverware. I get it. That's something that, Newcastle didn't do. But I can say that there aren't many coaches out there that I would say you go and say, get me that coach. And I think Newcastle knows that, they don't have they don't have the best product, much less the finished product in Eddie Howe. But are they willing to start over with an unproven coach? Probably not. I just think probably not. And they know that this coach gets all the nuances of what it means to be Newcastle's coach. You listen to what you don't make demands. You take what they give.
Well, I think you're being very generous to him by saying that he gets all the nuances of what it means to be a Newcastle coach, which means he shuts the F up and does what he's told.
Basically. Yeah.
Pochettino is out there. I'm not saying they're going to take Pochettino because he's very kind of famously his own man, as it were.
Yeah.
So you don't fall out with those owners, I'd imagine. But they need more than Eddie Howe. That project is a prestige project, and Eddie Howe is a coach. He's not they want, I know we're saying they're not out there, but this is what they want, is an Ancelotti, a Mourinho, a Jurgen Klopp. That's what they want at the head of their project. So in the middle of the summer, right now, nobody is available. Very quickly, somebody gets sacked. Then all of a sudden, he's an obvious shout for Newcastle. But I just think for him he did well they did very well to get the Champions League. I think they kind of, fell into the right place, the right time, but to go drop all the way back down to that. And Ian has made a very good point, which I don't really like, is that they're just basically playing Saturday. That's it. Saturday, all season until the Cup's come along.
Yep.
Yeah, they're just playing. They've no midweek crap. Lots of time on a training ground. Lots of time for players to get fit and recover.
Yeah.
We had it. It was great for us when we missed out on Europe. We flew back up to league because it was just every weekend, no bullshit, just Saturday. Brilliant.
Yeah. I always thought that Europa was a blessing, in a silver lining blessing last year, considering the amount of injuries that we had and the sheer fact that because we had Europa, we were already planning on utilizing youth players to get some big opportunities and to get more playing time than normal. And because of that, we could play them in Europa games. We could play them in the system. We can get them fully, in adjusted to the life of and the rigors of playing on the senior team. And I think I think it was a blessing. Obviously, it would have been a bigger blessing if we made it to the final and won, but all the same, I think it was a blessing. But there is some news real quick, since we were just speaking about Manchester United. There is some news that maybe the Irishman might not like to hear, but apparently De Ligt has chosen to only deal with Manchester United.
Yeah, I heard he was big on him. I heard he was tight for Man U. So
apparently he is only interested in dealing with Manchester United as his club to negotiate with, getting a deal done. It's very interesting that you're a player from Bayern who's not playing, whose team just brought in more center backs, and you're out there telling teams, well, there's only one team I want to deal with. That doesn't exactly help your bargain.
There's only one team that's going to match my wages, baby.
Yeah, that's true. It helps that Varane.
There's only one team not in the Champions League that needs me that's going to match these numbers, baby. He is on huge money.
Numbers,
they won't give him what he's on because he's dropping down. They know but they'll give him really close, and really close to what he's on is enormous money. Even if it's like 40 grand a week less, which is 2 million quid a year, by the way. Even if it's just that, they'll shave it a little bit, but he'll still be on huge money.
Yeah.
I hope he do it and that he comes in and has a bad fitness record like Varane, because Varane's injured a lot, wasn't he? So bring him here and try and pair him with that. Martin.
Why hasn't it worked, Lee?
Who's the Argentinian fella he got United? What was his name?
Lisandro Martinez.
Put on his ass. Martinez.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lee, I'd ask you, why hasn't it worked? I know you. I'm not going to ask you. I mean, but why do you think, you got a kid that at Ajax is part of this generation, him and De Jong go for nearly 100 million each. He goes to Juve, it doesn't work. He goes to Bayern, it doesn't work. Are you looking at that and going, do I want to be the third club it doesn't work at, or do I want to go, no, we can be the club he works at? Would it worry you, or would it, what's going on there?
Looking at that. I'm definitely looking at that and saying, never, never, not in a million years. That is what I'd be saying, looking at that after his fitness record and the size of his wages and everything, 2 failed transfers. I'd be saying no and washing my hands of that. And that's all there is. I mean, I think he might actually struggle to get away from Bayern Munich because nobody's going to buy him, mate, and pay them wages with his
Those wages record. Are ridiculous. They're ridiculous.
Yeah. Yep. Anything that starts with a 3 is LeBron level. This is gold star. This is top tier crap right there.
Yeah.
For De Ligt, I mean, maybe when you were the hottest property on the block after Ajax got to the
yes, exactly.
maybe
when you're at Juventus, maybe, and that's a big maybe. Even then, I wouldn't have given you those kinds of wages. But it goes to show you, like, I know that we got into the back and forth of Hylor about, like, you know, different wages and the state of Bundesliga and the likes, you know, especially with Bayern Munich. It's kind of why it makes the market so somewhat unsustainable, in my humble opinion, again, because you have teams and especially leagues that kind of foster these high salaries for these players because they're the top teams in those leagues and they can do that, but it doesn't make it that much easier for you to say, okay, well, I'm going to go get Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong makes 700,000 euros a year, you know, like, or 700,000, excuse me, a week or something like that, or whatever, right? It's something ridiculous, you know? And it's like one of those cases where, like, I would love to see Frankie de Jong as our DM, but yet, like, where and how do you get that kind of a player to say, I want to leave and go play for half, if not 1/3 of what you're making at Barcelona? It's probably not happening. And then if you get even deeper into it, with especially when you get into, like, the Spanish clubs, it's almost like some of these release clauses now, just don't even put release clauses. What's the point? I get it's a part of the country's, like, rules or laws or something.
It's legal. Yeah, you have to. Legally, they have to.
But I just think it's BS because it's like now.
Yeah, but that's what it is, BS. So just put a BS one in, but there has to be a number in the contract, literally, or else, you know. But just that's why you come up with the billion. That's what the Neymar thing. The Neymar one was like, it's 200 million. You know, no one's ever going to pay to, and then bing, you get an email. You know, contract or you know, transfer fee release reached. You know what? Wait, what? PSG just put the money. Well, Neymar just put the money in the bank. Another fun fact, which I've mentioned before, in those cases, a buying club is not allowed to pay that money. The player has to buy himself out of that contract. So technically, PSG cannot give Barcelona the 200 million. They have to give it to Neymar, and Neymar has to give it
to buy himself out of his contract.
Yeah. Which is when you'll see these famous pictures of it's usually two guys, they're bankers, or they're walking into the Spanish FA headquarters with briefcases. And that's literally a banker's draft from Neymar to the Spanish FA, buying himself out of his contract. And that money then goes directly to Bar. It is crazy, isn't it? It's like, but that's how you have to. PSG can't touch it. They can't go near it. It's his buyout clause. He is the only one allowed to pay it. So they transfer that dough in, and you do a runner to the games. I mean, you go to the Spanish FA, and you just buy it out. You're like, I'm now a free man.
Yeah,
it's that's how it works. But no one expected them to come. So that's when they started. Oh, Pedri. Oh, now he's like 800 million.
No, they have $1 billion. They have contracts that are $1 billion. The buyout clauses are $1 billion.
Yeah, I think Gavi's like $1 billion, but they were re-signing people, like even like they're re-signing Messi and putting him on like a billion. Yeah, they're re-signing people just to up their fucking buyouts because they realized actually 120 is now doable. You know, like that would have put everyone off 2 years ago, but now, now we need to look at some of these guys and get that up to 800 million or 700 million just to make it a bullshit number.
That's because like for instance, I know I mentioned Frankie de Jong makes 600 so he makes 612,000 pounds or 700,000 plus whatever euros. But I put it in pounds just so you can understand it. 612,134 pounds a week is what his salary is.
I mean, Jesus.
Lewandowski is on 442,000 pounds a week. Gundogan is on 306,000 pounds a week.
Also at the age of about 50.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are in their mid-30s.
Well, let's get down to some younger, get into some of the younger players. I mean, Koundé is making £221,000 a week. That's the same level as a Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying, people? That's what I'm trying to get at. Like it definitely makes it interesting when you try to say, oh, well, we're going to go for this player, we're going for that player. And you're like, you know how much those players make? Like, yeah. And it's not like they're living in like, some remote part of Russia or something, or, Siberia, Russia, where they're like freezing their tuchus off, and they want to get out, they're living in Barcelona or Madrid.
It's a pretty nice place. It's a nice place to be getting paid 700 clams a week.
Yeah.
To kick to play ball.
Right. But you're right.
I mean, I've been to the new camp. Like
Barcelona's
I don't.
Yeah.
Deal?
Oh,
no, I don't go. Sorry.
Torres's deal or Koundé's deal, for instance, 840. This is the number apparently they like to do. It must be $1 billion in euros, probably, but 848
well, it would be,
million 825,800 pounds is the release clause. Who is going to pay 848? Let's just round it up. Let's just make it 850. 850 million pounds for a player.
Yeah,
and that's not one player on there. That's not just one player. That's multiple. There's multiple players on Barcelona's roster. You want Pedri, you're going to pay basically 850 million pounds. You want it, Gavi, you're paying 850 million pounds, or basically $1 billion euros.
Yeah, but you'd get him for like 160. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you put Barcelona, like if someone actually did do a Neymar and offered him 200 million for a Gavi or a Pedri, they wouldn't be able to turn it down.
You weigh it against it. Like if someone came out and said, I'm going to offer you 200 million for Pedri, you're not going to get €1 billion for him.
No, this is a protection. It's just protection.
Yeah. It's protection to make you decide when and who. Yeah, because
it's like when you put your thing on eBay and you just set the price so that no one.
That's a good way of putting
it. You don't accidentally sell it for a $5. Right. But these boys. Well, look, it is. I don't like talking about it, but when players go, it's literally closest thing you get to a market. It's literally a market. You're putting a player who's a human being up for sale when you are selling them, and you're inviting bids for them. And the club that wants to pay the most for your player, they kind of decide. The market decides the price. So they're just defending themselves from the likes of Chelsea being stupid and taking some young kid. Like they are terrified of losing the likes of a Gavi, a Pedri, a Lamal. These guys, to some vulture club that can come in and go, look, I know it's lovely in Barcelona, but you're 18 or we're going to pay you a lot more than they can. So they're protecting themselves that way. I like that team that they're building there, but
who in Barcelona or
with Pedri and Gavi and Lamine Yamal and
it'll be interesting how they maintain it. To be honest with you,
personally, they brought in Hansi Flick, didn't they? Is it Hansi Flick is the new manager there? If I'm not wrong,
yeah.
Which is a bit of a left field call. So
wait, not Flick. I think it's Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann isn't it Nagelsmann?
No. Nagelsmann is still at Germany. Yeah.
He's still at Germany. Okay, then. I knew it was one of the German managers, though.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's Hansi Flick has gone there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And exactly. And Jude's release clause is $1 billion. Now it's just to the point where they just put $1 billion as their release clause, so that they don't. If you want to, you can make an offer, but I mean, like if you want to make that, the kind of deal that we made for instance with Dominic, that's not happening. We went out, we got the release clause on Dominic Szoboszlai, boom, he's our player. Great,
that's a nice release clause. That's exactly. I don't like the billion one. Exactly. 55. I like that's a nice release clause. You know, we're okay with that. We're okay with that. But don't be coming at us with this.
I think it'd be interesting. I don't know what Nico Williams' release clause is. By the way, I'll have to find that out because he plays for.
It's 57 million.
Is that his release clause? Okay.
Yeah, 57 million is his release.
Okay.
Romano has said that a couple
has
of times.
Verified that.
So. Oh okay. yeah. He said so. That's you want him, you get him for that. Then it's negotiating with him.
He's a big gamble.
I think he's
a big gamble. Considering that's our sweet spot. The 40 to 60 is where we will make those kinds of expenditures for players, but it is a big reach for a player that plays on the side of the pitch that we are heavily saturated with players for that side of the pitch. That's at least my take. If he plays right wing, sign him up. You know, if he can play left wing and right wing equally at the same level, sign him up. But yeah.
The only thing I will say about him is it's very Liverpool, but that guy's fitness record is ridiculous. That guy, I know that guy is close to Salah in terms of how fit he is. He just doesn't miss games. It's remarkable. I like him, but Williams. But we did this the other night, man. This guy, I'm all over him now. Apenda, the Belgian guy.
Oh yeah.
We really need to. We were looking at his numbers last night, Lee. This Apenda guy that's in the Belgian squad, striker.
Mm-hmm.
What did he do?
Very good numbers.
24 goals and 17 assists. This kind of stuff.
Great
like
numbers,
this is Suarez type stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this is like he scored 20 goals. No, he scored like over 20 and comes close to that in also making assists in the freaking Bundesliga. This is the kind of guy I'd like to see pop up on our radar. I haven't seen anybody mention him at all.
He used to play in Holland too. He played in Holland before he played in the Bundesliga, and was doing well in Holland too. He's doing pretty well in Holland.
Scores goals and makes assists everywhere he goes. Young player, number 9.
Yep.
What did they like him to on the
60 million euros right now currently?
Pony it up. What did you like? They likened them to the kind of the Ollie Watkins type number.
Yeah, all the names that he was likened to were like big name players for the
but they were number 9s. Like they weren't tricky wingers.
Yeah, distinct number 9s.
Yeah, they're proper out and out number 9s. So to get that many assists as well. Yeah. Euro, I've seen like K-Mac was there like saying that there's a story saying that there's money on the table now, offers made, and 55 million for Euro.
Yeah, I know. I've heard. We've, like I said, that's the reason why I said about the agent coming into town. Apparently, there's been report. I mean, if you look at his list, there's a couple of names on that list that he represents. Again, that we've been in links with, whether how distinctly accurate or how distinctly you could say that's something.
You may have said it. Who's Diaz's agent?
Diaz's agent is
he his brother? Actually, is he one of those family?
His dad represents them technically, but I'll tell you, but it's not.
But obviously, there's another guy. Yeah, there's an actual licensed agent.
His licensed agent is a big name.
But he's not Mendes though. He's not a Mendes guy, is he?
No. His agent is the same guy that his agent is the same agent that represents Amarin. That's what it was. So Ruben Amarin, the coach, the coach that we were in the lights for, it's the same agent that represents him. It represents Diaz.
Do you know his name? Or
Raul Costa? Raul Costa, I want to say. Raul Costa, I believe. You guys can look it up for me. You guys Google it for me. Raul Costa, I believe, is who represents him. Because I know that it's the same agent as. And it is okay. Big up, Baz. Big up, Baz. Good to see you, brother.
Is that Baz?
Yeah, that's Baz, man.
Oh, big Baz, man. How we doing? Haven't seen you in ages, man. Haven't seen you in ages.
Yeah, he's saying it's the same. Dude, is it the same agent that represents Casado? I don't know. That one I don't know. I'd have to look for that one. If you guys can Google it for me, definitely look it up. But I'm pretty sure that it was Ruben Amarin is the same agent, and that's why I remember when we were talking about well, whoever told Ruben it was a good idea to get on that plane and fly over to England. Well, that was like I said, that's the same agent that advised Lucho to sign a 5-year or whatever it was deal at $55K. So, but he's a big name DJ. A big name DJ. He's a big name.
It just
agent.
says Nomi Sports, NOMI Sports is the official agent.
Okay.
So whoever it is that's in that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I can see on this anyway.
I feel, Ryan, you are correct as well. I think Diaz is going to stay. I'd like to see Diaz stay, period. I guess, and I know that we have to deal with the whole like signing players and selling players. Every team has to somewhat deal with that to feasibly make the numbers match and work. But like, I would love to be able to keep Diaz and be able to just upgrade or at least complement, whether it's right side, left side, whatever side we're going to do, or even in the middle, just have some real players. The same, very similar concept of what Real Madrid is doing. Like there's only so many players that can play the front line, but they have plenty of options up front to choose from. I would love to be in that situation, Ryan. But so I don't. I'll look it up for you too when I get a chance to verify it if I'm right about Raul Costa.
So I don't think
being him. But we're gonna be we're coming up to the end of the show here. Lee, is there anything that was on your mind or that you wanted to bring up before we allow for the people to go on to their final destinations off of the Liverpool jet here?
No, just thanks for taking part, everyone. Were you saying Brian Mbeumo then, Brian?
Yeah, someone put him in a thing there as a potential right wing option.
I know.
Yeah, I like Mbeumo as an option for a Mo replacement. He's direct. He's fast.
It was Ryan Gallagher and Ryan Gallagher. That's a new name to me. So Ryan, hello, welcome to the channel. If you haven't liked and subscribed, anybody that hasn't liked and subscribed, we're going to be ending soon. We're a bit short on the likes there, folks. So make sure you do it before you go.
Yeah, I think Brian Mbeumo's a potential. He's not an exciting name for a lot of people because people say, "Oh, we want Mohamed Kudus," but Kudus is too dear, whereas Mbeumo's at a reasonable price. Now he's not the ideal candidate to replace Mo. For a lot of people, they want a bigger name. But I do think Mbeumo's got quality and potential as a forward. He wouldn't be the worst thing to do.
No, no at all. No, if you look at what he did for Brentford, if you put him in a Klopp team with better players around him, create more chances for him, he'd probably score more goals, you would assume, than he did at Brentford. And he scored a load of goals at Brentford. So, good player. But, like you say, are fans going to wake up in the morning going, yay, we signed, it doesn't really land that thing. If he was in our squad right now, lovely. He's good for probably 10 or 12 equals. No, he's not getting the bums on the seats. I say he's not getting clicks.
He still has my boy Mo also still has 3 years left on his deal. By the way, he is making currently £45,000 £60,000 a week as his base salary, and he's
quick question.
And has no release clause. And he has no release
quick
clause.
question. Which transfer do you think will go down better? Do you think Anthony Gordon signing for £72 million or Brian Mbeumo signing for £38 million? Which transfer do you think would go down better with the fan base? Not with yourselves, just with the fan base.
No, I took a moment. I took a moment off screen to compose myself because.
Yeah, I know. Neither are good. I know.
Go ahead, Lee. What were your choices? What's your opinion?
If you were to wake up tomorrow to the headline, which one do you want to wake up to?
Personally, it'd be Mbeumo, but I think a lot of our fans would say they'd want Gordon for the extra money. I think there'd be more of our fans people.
Yeah, I think I agree. I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish your thought.
Yeah, I just think
I'm saying I agree.
What I read in comment sections, it seems quite a few of our fans would like Gordon, and I mean, personally, I wouldn't think he's overpriced. I think Mbeumo's got a better skill set, actually, and is a more dangerous forward on goal than Gordon is. So I prefer him at a lesser price at 38. And if Gordon was 72 or something, like Brian said, I'd definitely have Mbeumo because we'd have money
literally
left.
Just numbers I've made up off the top of my head. But I think they wouldn't be miles. I don't think they'd be miles off. I don't think they'd be miles off.
Yeah, what I think it'd be.
Anthony Gordon is on £60,000 a week as his salary, and he is signed up to 2026. I've said it time and time again now on a lot of different shows, our show included. If Anthony Gordon is such a Liverpool fan, I say this, Mr. Gordon. I say hold tight, hold pat, however you want to put it. Ride out your contract. Refuse to sign a contract with Newcastle. Just say, I'm going to give you the best, whatever 2 years or whatever's left on your contract. I'm going to give it all here for you to get you back in the Champions League. Do what you need to do, brother. And then once the end of the contract comes, say, I'm taking my services and talents back to Merseyside. I'm bringing it to Liverpool. And that's how you engage with bringing on those of us that really don't like you. Okay. So those of us that are going to have to sit there and say how much that we might rate you as a player, we might not rate you as a player, because I think he tends to be a diver in a lot of cases. But it's the sheer fact of do what Mbappe did, man. Just if Liverpool is the team that you want to get to, you know what? Do us a solid and leave on a free and come to Liverpool with no strings attached. Do what Matip did, in essence of come here on a free and become a really, really important and beneficial player to our club. That's how I look at it.
Well, I think that answers the question that everybody would probably be happier to wake up tomorrow and find out that we signed Mbeumo over Anthony Gordon. But good luck, Mr. Gordon. In that they'll offer him double his money or whatever.
Brian, I think more people would prefer to see Gordon truthfully than Mbeumo. I commend Lee for saying that he thinks that he would step out. And
no, just from your reaction there. No, I was just saying who would like. I mean, I only got.
I don't want to sign either. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I know, but but that wasn't the question. It was if you had to. The question is if you had to wake up to one headline tomorrow. One was Gordon for 72, the other was Mbeumo for 38. I think right now that would literally be. I think that'd be a 50-50. Because he's so disliked. Yeah. There's so many people that just don't like that guy. And then they go, well, Mbeumo for 38. we could kind of call him a squad addition. Obviously, he's not our marquee. Where it's like if you sign Gordon for 72, you know that's your marquee signing. That's your signing that everyone's supposed to be like, yay, we signed a brilliant, amazing. Like that's the big name signing, guys. And I don't think that goes down well at all. I think it's more like because you say he's a reputation for being a diver. Like, yeah, he's a Liverpool fan. He does a couple of years at our academy, goes to Everton, and he celebrates against us. He gives it the big and great. I mean, Jared's a Everton fan. He celebrated his balls off against them. You know, it's just it is what it is. But he doesn't have anything in the bank with Liverpool fans for us to want him to be our big name guy, and I think that nearly happened because we had a medical booked for him, and if we'd gone out and they'd done that deal, and we'd agreed like to just pay straight cash, that he's our big name signing. That to me,
he would have been. Yeah.
That would have ruined the summer. That would have ruined the summer completely.
How pissed would you have been, Lee?
10
Lee, how pissed would you have been if you woke up and you saw not even 75 million, which is what Brian's saying? I mean, like, let's say we go for the evaluation that Newcastle wanted, and we wake up and we see Liverpool make £100 million deal for
Jesus, what
for Anthony Gordon, or how about this? Liverpool. How about this? Liverpool make. How about this? Liverpool make deal for. Oh, I was gonna say, Lee. I'll even make it one step better. Liverpool make swap deal with Newcastle for Diaz plus 50 million.
Well, no, go with what they wanted. Go with what they want. Go with the Kwanzaa one. Go with that because they wanted that.
Yeah, that's even worse.
So go with that because that was a real thing that happened. So go with that.
Right.
So how would you feel if 50 no 65 plus Kwanzaa? No, I think that would have been because you remember, Lee will remember this, 12th man, you might remember this. Do you remember when Lee Bowyer was pictured at Anfield with Jared Houllier? This is before the internet, and the pictures got out in the paper, and it was immediately, the fans were told Liverpool are buying Lee Bowyer, and the backlash was so big that within about a week, the club was like, well, Lee who?
Yeah.
No. Literally, they were like, Bowyer was in the building doing an Anfield tour with Jared Houllier. They got papped, and the backlash was so because Bowyer was hated. And within a couple of days, they were like, "Sorry, no, we were never doing that." You.
They probably had him on the tour, and they're like, someone comes over, taps one of the guys on the shoulder, like, he's not going to be here. People don't like it. And they're like, oh, okay, let's show you the bathroom. And then I guess that'll be the conclusion of the tour.
Yeah.
And,
it comes out like we're putting down $5.75 million for him, which was big bucks. And every Liverpool fan on the planet was just like, there was no internet. They were like ringing the paper and stuff, sending, like ringing up radio stations. Like it was just so quick. It was just like Liverpool, again, FSG aren't the only ones that have made mistakes. Sure. But you can make mistakes, but if you correct it quickly because the fans are like, no, we don't like that. Sorry. That's cool. But like that is, I think the Gordon one would be close to that Bowyer one in terms of like, I would imagine, because we talked about the Red Men the other night.
You would hear a backlash if that was.
I would say 90% negative.
Make that kind of expenditure, and you're going to make it on Gordon. Get the heck out of here, man.
I'd say 90% negative, man.
Valuation of him by Newcastle, the comedic valuation of him by Newcastle. I'd be apoplectic with rage if we spent like really good money, like 100 million on a player like him.
Yeah. You're trying to come off as you're trying to tell the world that you're like these, gurus of finance and everything else, and knowing how to get a good deal in the likes, and you make £100 million deal for an Anthony Gordon. No, I'm good, man. No.
Give me Isaac for that kind of for that kind of wedge, give me Isaac. Give me.
I wouldn't even. I don't even know if I would pay.
No, but that's if you're.
I know what
if
you're
that's
saying.
that's the, yeah. I want your big.
Yeah.
I don't your. I want your Gordons. I want your Brunos, or I want your Isaacs.
Right.
If we're talking 3 figures, yeah. No, we've moved past the Anthony Gordon section. We're into the fancy section now.
Yeah. No.
You know?
Hey, I mean, I would have been closer to the Bruno G section. But
yeah, whichever one you want. If that's the big number you want to go, like if you tell me, like basically, we just went to Newcastle and spent 100 million on a player, don't be telling me it's the Anthony Gordon section.
Yeah, exactly.
We went to the Bruno section or the Isaac section.
Yeah,
that's where we were shopping.
That's the only place I'm shopping.
Yeah, no, if it's 3 figures for Anthony Gordon, look, he overpaid when you got him from Everton, 45 million.
And he's been a good starter for you. He's been good.
Yeah, but he's worth what you paid for him. I don't even in today. I'm sorry, but he's probably worth what they paid. He's probably worth 40. Again, right? In today's market, that's probably what he's worth.
Yep.
He's not worth triple figures because you boys are in a financial hole, which they're no longer in. So a lot of this is moot now.
Right.
You probably won't go anywhere.
Well, we are going to end it there. I did see Ryan's question. I don't know if that's going to be the player that is going to come. We did speak on it a little bit earlier in the show.
Ryan Nuri was it? Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be. I know that the agent that we were speaking on earlier does Jorge does represent him as well, but he represents quite a few names that are on our transfer list target list. So if it is Al-Nouri, cool. If it's as Honesty's putting Nico Williams, cool. If it ends up being Lenny Euro, cool. I'm optimistic whoever we end up targeting and getting. As long as it improves our club, I'm all for it, And if it means we can improve our club without having to subtract from our club, even more power to it. So we'll probably have an update. Tomorrow is the 4th of July here in America. So I will be, I will be taking off for tomorrow to celebrate taking in some fireworks and the likes. So, so I won't be doing a show tomorrow, but we will be back after that, after the 4th. So
we should do a takeover show, Lee.
Yeah, if you guys, it may be
do a takeover show.
Yeah, Lee and the Irishman. Oh, that would be epic. Do a takeover show. I would love
do a takeover show. But no, just
absolutely love it. I'll be in the chat. I'll hook it up.
But just to let anybody know, before we anybody that might be interested, I did get something. I showed you the picture earlier on.
Yeah,
I got something very special in the post today.
Yes.
Championship Manager season 0102 has arrived, so we're ready to go on that. The classic game. I mean, everybody loves it if they know it. I have also had to arrange to the nice people at eBay. If you're looking to sponsor a channel, by the way, eBay, we're open to sponsorships. I had to get a thingy to play it because laptops don't play discs anymore. So that'll be here by Friday. So hopefully by the weekend, we'll be ready to launch the Championship Manager season 0102 watch along, take over Liverpool, and see a bit of nostalgia for the old Championship Manager heads, Football Manager, all of that. And also, do you want to tell me about the other good news that we may have a special guest coming on?
Save that part. Yeah, there's some really, really big news that is. Maybe you can announce it on the takeover show or something like that. But big up Jimmy, big up Ian. Thank you. Definitely.
Oh, Jimmy, late as always, Jimmy. Anyway, Jimmy's one of those guys. Jimmy and Tarmizi. Well, that's a good one actually. Jimmy and Tarmizi are those kind of people. They cycle like 10,000 miles a year. All this kind of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jimmy was probably out like cycling to Dublin and back or something.
I got you. Yeah. Big up Derry. Big up Richard. Big up Daz. Big up Ian, Dara, Bonkers, YouTube name. That's
Ryan Gallagher, a new name in chat. Ryan Gallagher, thanks for dropping in.
Yeah, big up.
Really good.
Big up, definitely. Also, hi, Laura, of course. You know, some of
Bernadette, Dara,
Bernie, some of the regulars, Cedric. You know, Redbird, K-Mac was in here.
K-Mac, John Conway.
Red for Life was here. Rasta Crab showed up and said, "What's good?" The streets were here. Yep. So we had Daryl, of course, was here. Philip was here. Some really cool names to see. Always good to see. And John Conway, of course. Really good names. Really loyal Reds out there. Really appreciate it. Big up to Ant as well, representing. Ant showed up and said hello as well. He's not a red, he's a blue, but all the same, he is a welcome guest to the show. And tomorrow I'm going to be taking in some fireworks. Hopefully we can arrange something for this takeover, 12-man takeover. Be great. So
13 watching, only 9 likes. Come on, let's top it up before we go.
Yeah. Be sure to hit the like if you can. And be sure to share this, comments, all that. Trust me, if you do a comment, I will comment back. I will definitely give you some type of response. I try not to do just the like or the heart emoji on some of your comments unless it's very basic, basic comment that doesn't require a comment back. But all the same, I try to engage with everyone that shows the amount of time and attention that they do to the channel, because I really do appreciate it. And it helps us in our pursuit of getting the algorithm to like our channel as well. So, again, big up to everyone. I guess you guys all said your parting ways to everyone to say what's good, right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Just again, like it before you leave.
Yeah. And again, as we like to say always, up the Reds, people. Up the Reds. See ya.